Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. In this video I will play two videos featuring Tucker Carlson talking about two little events in Russia when he visited Russia to interview the Russian President Vladimir Putin, and about the US surveillance program on him while he was over there. So he said, continuously surveilled him, including his text messages. There's one, and the other one he talks about how his lawyers, Tucker Carlson's lawyers, advised him not to interview Putin because he could be arrested when he returns home, but that depended on the question he would ask Putin. Therefore, you ask the right questions, we're not going to arrest you. You ask the wrong questions, as a journalist, we're going to arrest you. Each video, I have two of them, is about 1 minute and 50 seconds each. So let me jump right into this thing. Russia Today, 27th of February 2024. Tucker Carlson makes shocking revelation about Moscow trip. I don't think they're shocking whatsoever. He wanted to talk to Snowden, he spoke with Snowden, and the mass media leaked that through what he claims being surveilled by the Americans, leaked it or put it straight into semaphore, as he call it, as being a media outlet or something. The journalist claims the US spied on him as he tried to interview Edward Snowden, who did not want to be interviewed. And then the other one is right here. They talk about their sincere conclusion was, do not do this, the lawyers. A lot will depend on the questions you ask of Putin. If you're seen as too nice to him, you could be arrested when you come home. And Tucker says that's actually a fascist government. And he says, I was being intensely surveilled by the US government. No surprise. They should do this. You don't know who you're dealing with. If you have a media establishment that acts as employees of the national security state, you don't have a free country, and that's where we are. So let's start with the first video, and this maximum, let's try it again.
Which I was willing to do because I wanted to interview Putin because they told me I couldn't. But then there's another fact, which is that I was being surveilled by the U.S. government, intensely surveilled by the U.S. government. And this came out, they admitted it, the NSA admitted it a couple of years ago that they were up in my Signal account. And then they leaked it to the New York Times. They did that again before I left. And I know that because two New York Times reporters, one of whom I actually like a lot, said, oh, you're going, and called other people, oh, he's going to interview Putin. I hadn't told anybody that, like anybody, like my wife, two producers, that's it. So they got that from the government. Then I'm over there, and of course I want to see Snowden, who I admire. And so we have a mutual friend, so I got his text and come on over, and Snowden does not want publicity at all. And so, but I really want.
I think the mutual friend is Glenn Greenwald. Let's break it like that.
Dinner with him. So we had dinner in my hotel room at the Four Seasons in Moscow, and I tried to convince him, I'd love to do an interview, shoot it on my iPhone. I'd love to take a picture together and put it on the internet because I just want to show support because I think he's been railroaded. He had no interest in living in Russia, no intention of being in Russia. The whole thing is a lie. But anyway, whatever. All this stuff. And he just said, respectfully, I'd rather not anyone know that we met. Great. The only reason I'm telling you this is because, and I didn't tell anybody, and I didn't text it to anybody. Okay, except him. Semaphore runs this piece saying, reporting information they got from the U.S. intel agencies, leaking against me using my money in my name in a supposedly free country. They run this piece saying I'd met with Snowden, like it was a crime or something. So again, my interest is in the United States and preserving freedoms here, the ones that I grew up with. And if you have a media establishment that acts as an auxiliary of, or acts as employees of the national security state, you don't have a free country. And that's where we are.
It is an auxiliary, is not a help, is really, well, they are the same, my friends. So, this is the first one. I think Snowden, how should I put it? I'm obviously I'm for Snowden, I'm for Julian Assange, and I'm for truth. And when these guys who have a lot of garbage around tell me that, well, that our national security was threatened, you are a threat to our national security, you guys. So no wonder that the government would go and monitor and surveil Tucker Carlson. They don't know who's he playing with. I'm pretty sure he is 24/7 under their surveillance as we speak. Not only on the phone or emails, more than that. And that's the way countries defend themselves, or the guys in charge defend us from foreign interference and, attempts to overthrow and destroy our country. I'm not defending these guys, but that's the main purpose of these intelligence agencies. And you got FBI, CIA, and all these guys. They are over there for a purpose, but they were hijacked, or they hijacked our system. Which way you want to look? They hijacked it, or they were hijacked by other interest. So let's go to the second video, the one that he talks about the lawyers who sincerely warn him not to do it or ask the questions in a different way. Which was that? Censorship? Correct.
My lawyers, before I left, and these are people who work for a big law firm, this is not Bob's law firm, this is one of the biggest law firms in the world, said, you're going to get arrested if you do this by the U.S. government on sanctions violations. And I said, well, I don't recognize the legitimacy of that, actually, because I'm American and I've lived here my whole life, and that's so outrageous that I'm happy to face that risk, because I so reject the premise. Okay, I'm an American. I should be able to talk to anyone I want to, and I plan to exercise that freedom, which I think I was born with. And I gave them this long lecture. They're like, we're just lawyers. But that was let me put it this way. I don't know how much you dealt with lawyers, but it costs many thousands of dollars to get a conclusion like that. Like, they sent a whole bunch of their summer associates or whatever. They put a lot of people on this question, checked a lot of precedent, and they sent me a 10-page memo on it. And their sincere conclusion was, do not do this. And of course, it made me mad. So I was lecturing on the phone, and I had another call with the head lawyer, and he said, well, look, a lot will depend on the questions that you ask Putin. If you're seen as too nice to him, you could get arrested when you come back. And I was like, you're describing a fascist country, okay? You're saying that the U.S. government will arrest me if I don't ask the questions they want asked?
Yeah, that's exactly. Good job, Tucker. Good job going over there. And can you imagine under how much pressure and stress he, as a human being, was put? I mean, imagine he's got 4 children, he's got dogs, he's got a wife too, and who knows what else he's got over there. And the fact that these guys are not able or willing yet to disclose anything to paint Tucker as this kind of that, he has done this a long time ago, raises 2 questions. One, either Tucker Carlson is clean as a crystal, or the other one is one of, he's doing how much he's allowed to in order to function. He's used in a certain way. I'm not going to go deeper because I don't know. But what other options there are? You either are allowed to say it, to do it to a certain extent, and maybe, or you are just so clean and you do it and you believe in those things. I tend to think it's a mixture between this. And I will mention to you one incident that that you can go and check. Remember in the interview that Putin had with Tucker, or Tucker had with Putin, when Putin trolls him about, and you can see Tucker's face when Putin told him, yeah, you tried to, I remember that even you, Tucker, tried to be a CIA employee, something like that. And the camera is focused on Tucker. You could not see any facial change or expression. He kept it cool. Now, I don't think that he did not understand what Putin said over there. Putin was a little jab like, "Puck, here you have it." And he was, now that takes, either you didn't understand it, which I don't think so, because you got translated in the same, right? Or you just trained. Why wouldn't he didn't even pick on that, he just let it go, which was very, very smart. He didn't even laugh at it like, come on, yeah, man, it was, yeah. He didn't change his facial expression. I don't know, it was an observation. Maybe he's the way he is, I don't know. Who knows? The thing is, Snowden, he should be interviewed. You should be allowed, as I said many times, to interview whomever you want. The problem is, these guys interviewed dictators, criminals, all kind of idiots, and they were allowed because the interview was framed in a certain way. Nowadays is no, this guy is out of reach. You should not interview him. I want to hear whomever I want to hear. I should not be an intermediary between me and whatever anybody. And I'm interested in to read what he said. I want to read his books if I want to maybe talk to him if I want to, without being afraid, or listen to lectures or interviews. I should not be limited in any way by any other human being or an institution created by human beings. That's the first one. And the second one with the lawyers, there's no surprising too. This is a facade. As I said many times, this is a matrix. And matrix exposes itself. It started being exposing itself since 2015. Since Trump said, I'm going to run for presidency. They were like, and Trump started saying shit that was, saying things that are not said in public. Then the matrix was showing its real force. And you can see who was in the matrix. You could see in the mass media, you can see the politicians, you could see the billionaires, you can see the, how do you call this, VIPs, how do they call them, these personalities, professors, university professor, experts, ex-former military, Obama. All these guys were exposing themselves, coming and saying idiot stuff about someone expressing his freedom of speech. Not necessarily attacking him for whatever he said, but the fact that he said it. You should not talk about. So that was when Trump was elected. Again, it was even more. So you had at least 5 years of seeing these guys exposing themselves. Who is who and what is what. For whomever wants to find out the truth. If you don't want to find out the truth, then you stay with your head in the sand or in your ass and stay over there smelling it. That's it. So that was a clear self, how do you call it? Revealing, when you reveal yourself in your beauty. That was the matrix, my friends. And these guys, but they don't care. Why? They're more agitated right now. So that was with the lawyers. Don't do it, don't do it. Why? Well, I remember in Ceausescu's times, the regime, the guys in charge, the communists, were holding every information just like this. Will not give you, will scramble supposedly, the information coming from outside. They were just awful, but these were the communists. And I said the communists were just rudimentary, were just barbaric in there. They were low intelligence. These guys, I'm talking about the guys really, really in charge over there, they were thugs. These guys are intellectual thugs. That's the only difference. These are doing it a little bit nicer and much or more intelligently. These guys use psychology, these guys use professors, these guys use people that are trained into mental manipulation and group, and they are experts. The other guys were just, if you don't do this, we're going to kill you. If you don't do this, we're going to throw you in jail. If you did this, if you did that. These guys are not like that. Look how they collect your taxes. Nicely, IRS and all that. Nicely, man. Everything is nice. Don't pay your taxes, and then you're going to see their face. All right, my friends, I'm glad Tucker says these things and we are allowed to hear what he said. There are many like Tucker, many like him, even better than him. I know a few. You don't hear from them. You have to search deep in order to find them. Why? Because they control what we are allowed to say and what we are allowed to hear. Now that is freedom, right? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.